Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019, 39 degrees outside, and I want to wish my good friend and co-host Shane Montalban a happy Thanksgiving Day.
Wow, you remembered. I'm so happy. That makes me feel good. Thank you. We had a great turkey dinner, 12 pounds. There were 9 people, and my granddaughters, they ate more than I did. I watched these children eating like constantly. It was, and they thought it was a big chicken.
Okay.
It was great. And the food was really amazing. We had some really great food.
Well, good for you. And it's Columbus Day here, and unless you're politically correct, you can call it something else, but it's always going to be Columbus Day to me. I don't care what you want to call it. It's Columbus Day. Forget it.
Yeah, well.
He was a jerk. So what?
Hey, wait. He's a famous Italian boy.
That's right. Yeah, so give me a break.
Yep.
Well, we didn't do much over the weekend. Watched a little baseball, watched a little football, and just kind of hung around and enjoyed the snow melting. We're getting a little warmer now, so the snow we got last week is just about gone. So,
yeah, the baseball playoffs are pretty exciting, aren't they?
They were, yeah. Houston beat the Yankees, home run at the bottom of the 11th. I mean, come on, that's baseball, man. That's good stuff.
Who would have believed? Yeah.
Grand slam in one of the other games. So there you go. I mean, come on.
And Washington D.C. like what?
Yeah, what's going on here?
This is amazing.
So yeah, the Yankees in Houston are putting on quite a show. The Cardinals and Washington are kind of boring.
Well, I know, but it's just the L.A. Dodgers they're gone.
I know they have the best record in baseball.
And Washington took them out.
I know. What's up with that? So I don't know, man. Well, I guess on any given day, any team can beat any other team, or so they say, anyway. So,
or let's bump the ratings.
Yeah, right. All right, weather around the area for your Columbus Day weather is going to be mostly sunny with a high of 51 degrees today. Tonight it's going to be partly cloudy with a low around 26. And on Tuesday, same story, mostly sunny with a high near 57. And Tuesday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with a low around 38. Same story on Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 66. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 40. And rain moves in on Thursday. We got about a 30% chance of rain, mainly afternoon on Thursday. A high of 58 and a slight chance of rain before midnight. Mostly cloudy with a high near 34. So Friday, chance of rain afternoon. Mostly sunny with a high near 51. And Friday night, chance of rain mixing with snow after 9 o'clock, then gradually ending, low around 31. And then on Saturday, rain and snow likely, partly sunny, high near 47. Saturday night, chance of rain and snow, mostly cloudy with a low around 29. And then on Sunday, chance of rain and snow, mostly cloudy with a high near 43. So Thursday through Sunday, maybe might get some rain or some snow, but temperature's pretty reasonable, 50s and 60s. So I think I can live with that, Shane. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like practical 101, autumn, fall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the colors are so, I have to say, walking with my daughter and grandchildren this weekend, it's such a beautiful time of year, and we have the big maple leaf, but the colors and, they fall to the ground around you as you're walking and the wind isn't too chilly and the sun is, wonderful time of year. Really
I'm not sure if we're going to have much color because we went down in temperature so quick.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure the leaves had a chance to, hey, I'm just going straight to brown and falling off.
That's right. They're frosting off. Yeah,
that's right. Temperatures around the area right now. Livingston is 38 degrees. Manhattan is 34. Three Forks, 33. Gallatin Gateway is 39. Ennis is 38. Big Sky is 33. And at the airport in Belgrade, it's 34 degrees. And at 10 minutes after the hour of 6, we are right at 39 degrees here in our lavishly appointed studios in downtown Bozeman, Montana. the last best place on earth, where Tom and Shane are making radio great again.
Yeah, we toss it back and forth, baby. We get it done.
Yeah. Poll question from Friday: would you accept a sales tax if property tax was gone? 34 or 40% of you, rather, said yes. I want to eventually own my property outright. 25% said yes. Then tourists will pay a share. 19% said no. A sales tax will just keep going up and up. No, I like it the way it is. Got 4% of the vote. And there were some other answers that got around 10% of the vote. Yes, to lower property tax. It doesn't matter what they call the tax. They're going to get the money. Yes, but it has to be the whole state, not local not local option. We just need to stop spending in lieu of an income tax. They would go for that. No, city needs to live within the budget like I have to do. No new taxes. So then we would just be paying both taxes. Yeah. No, they'll hand property tax back on later. Yes, if they do away with both property and income taxes. So we got a little bit of that going on too. So there you are.
Yeah, it's an unending question, and one of those. It's one of those political questions. People always talk about, but they don't seem to be able to resolve it in any way. And no matter how they integrate or involve themselves in the political system, it's not one of the topics. It's like the third rail, right? Taking care of the retirement and the medical and the vets. It's a tough call.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to pay taxes after you're retired on your house. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've always thought if you're on a fixed income of Social Security, you pay taxes all your life, you worked all your life, you produced all your life. I think that's a little ridiculous to ding people who are, making what, $1,200 to $1,300 a month on
exactly.
Per person or whatever. So I always thought that was kind of a insult to injury.
And the problem with taxation in both our countries is they overreach. And when I say that, I don't like when you get taxed on income, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the money you get back that's been paid, you paid a tax on, and you invest it, and then they charge you for the profits you make from that money that you invested that was taxed.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's wrong to constantly tax people's profit or efforts to profit after having paid tax on money they've already earned. To me, it's unethical, but they do it. They get away with it. No outrage.
Yeah. Well, corporate dollars are taxed twice. They're taxed at the corporate level, and then they're taxed again when you get the dividend or your stock goes up or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah.
Our poll question today is, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? 33% of you like vanilla, 33% like coffee. That's a surprise. You like coffee ice cream?
Yeah, but you didn't include toppings. See, like if I have vanilla ice cream, which is really good,
you're gonna have chocolate syrup on it, or strawberry, or something like that. Yeah. Well,
but chocolate ice cream is probably my favorite, right? Because Neapolitan as a kid, right? Like
you got strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate all together in one.
All three.
So you get all three of them. Yeah. But we also had Rocky Road cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip in there as well. So, somebody else put down, like you, huckleberry and chocolate together.
Exactly. There you go.
So there's another. So you can't put in your own answer on this poll. So if you want to,
you can.
Yeah. If you want to, if you got a, what, spumoni or.
That's right.
Something like that. You can put that in there. So why not? Why not go for that as well? So yeah, that was good. The other thing, I guess, unfortunately, the Bobcats got beat on Saturday.
But everybody had a great time.
Well, I hope our winners got to sit next to each other and got to talk about the show while a game was being lost.
But what's so great about a game like that? Because I mean, I've been to them, and
Sure.
What's great is you go with your friends, and it's a gathering.
Yeah.
You don't really. It's not necessarily a party. Of course, the night before, if and certainly if you'd won, it would have been a crazy party.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the game itself is a gathering, and then that's what's so great about sports in America. It brings all these people together for such a positive thing. Sports is a positive thing.
Well, it is. It gives you particularly this kind of sport, because I think college and high school sports bring the community together more so than professional sports does.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you know a lot of the kids playing, their parents and that kind of thing, and it just brings the community closer together. And I'm really curious to see what kind of a rivalry develops between our two high schools. We'll get our new high school out there, and we'll see. When they have to play each other, what are the parents going to be attacking each other in the stands like they do with Little League baseball?
And you look at football and basketball in the Rust Belt and the farmland in the center of your country.
Oh yeah.
In 70 years, they brought those people together because they would travel for miles.
Oh, they would, yeah. I mean, they do for our Bobcats too, and I think for the high school, there's a lot of people that would travel, around to follow the teams. I'm sure there were people from Sacramento State that came all the way up here to watch.
Oh, absolutely,
game.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't?
That's what they do. All right, we got to take care of our ranchers, farmers, truck drivers, cab drivers, anybody that brings you booze, food, or clothing, and. So we got the Montana News and Agriculture. Brian Law Firm wants to talk to you, and also Tri-County Countertops. They got a new showroom they want to talk to you about, so we'll be right back. 23 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, October 14, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Show with Tom and Shane. Shane Tom, half man, half amazing, is in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And on this day in history, oh my gosh, 1890 on this date, Dwight Eisenhower, 34th President of the United States, was born in Denison, Texas.
This is an eye-opener for all of us because we got to go over this in 1 minute. All right.
All right.
He becomes Supreme Commander, of course, of the Allied forces in Europe, and Operation Torch, 1942-43, which was the successful invasion of Normandy. But the amazing thing about that is everything before. This guy is so amazing. What he did and accomplished in his entire life is somewhat overwhelming. Graduated from West Point in 1915. By the way, in 1914 he met Rommel because Rommel went to West Point for a year. Married Mary Dodd, had 2 kids. He took over. He was a 5-star general during World War II. Took over and saw the invasion of North Africa and arranged the invasion of North Africa and Sicily, so no wonder he was in charge of Normandy. Went to Columbia University from 48 to 53. Now, here we go, folks. Never a politician. Never ran for it. 1952, ran for the Republican ticket, got it, and beat Adlai Stevenson in 52 and 56, as we know, 8 years. Opposed, of course, communism. Never got along with Truman. He dumped Truman's policy. And now you're going to love this because in recent times, in the last 3 years, wow, what the press has done to Trump. This guy threatened China with nuclear weapons if they didn't end the North Korean War. And the Chinese finally backed down, but they only would sign an armistice, which means it could still come up. Coups he was behind the coups in Iran to put the Shah in Guatemala. And the Suez Canal, he condemned Israel and the British and French for the invasion of Egypt, and he threatened them and forced them to withdraw from that one. I mean, this guy was great. He did nothing about the Hungarian Revolution in '56, where the Soviets invaded. Was sort of behind the CIA and MI16's duplicity in Syria crisis in '57 to put Assad's father in. Don't want to really go there. But started NASA because of Sputnik. I mean, this guy was busy.
He was a busy guy.
58, the Lebanon crisis, he stopped that. And that's just foreign. he got involved in. He's the guy that finally bagged Joe McCarthy because of what he was doing in the New Deal. He bagged.
Yeah.
He did the interstate highway system, the National Defense Education Act, which allowed all the military guys coming home, to go to school, which was huge.
Yep.
He sent troops to Little Rock to enforce his Civil Rights Act of 1950. Man, this guy was busy.
He did a lot, that's for sure.
and he warned everybody of the military-industrial complex in 1958 when he was coming to the end of his session. So there you go.
Right.
Have to brag about that guy. One of your best presidents. One of your best presidents. Really.
He was quite an accomplished individual, that's for sure.
Yeah.
1910, Hall of Fame UCLA basketball coach John Wooden was born near Martinsville, Indiana. Great motivator, great public speaker, great author. A lot of business people follow John Wooden's ideas on his views on basketball and how to motivate people, and won a bunch of championships in a row.
Exactly.
I think,
yeah. You can only say it about someone like that because he won consistently.
Yeah.
So, and it's a remarkable thing when you see of this type of competition that that you have to come in with kids that come in at 16, 18, 20, whatever, and you really have to condition them mentally because they've got all the athletic ability.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really all the mental conditioning for professionals.
It really is, and that's what he did so well was he literally got the best out of every player.
That's right.
Not by threatening them, not by, intimidation or whatever. He motivated them in a positive manner. And everybody speaks very highly of him.
And he actually cared about his players personally.
He really did, yeah.
And then that was it. Now, I wonder if he's rolling over in his grave with what's going on with the NBA, which we talked about last week. Cause, it's a really interesting side of everything we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, that'd be true.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to duck out here. It's 29 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a short break and be back with more stuff because I know you want to hear what Nazi Germany, we talked about Rommel earlier, what he did. Chuck Yeager is in the today's broadcast. John Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Apollo 7, Bing Crosby. We got a lot to talk about here, Shane. So everybody's in here on a Monday. So
and so are the phones.
That's right. We'll be right back. We got Montana State News, Fox News, Brooke Foster weather, and a bunch of other great information for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019, 39 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Well, in 1933, the Nazi Germany announced it was withdrawing from the League of Nations.
Yeah, well, what
something
a big surprise.
We should have done too.
Yeah, exactly. Woodrow Wilson, he put this together, and the League of Nations abbreviated LN or LON, which I think you got to have something that's got a logo that's good, like GE, or UN,
right.
But that's a side thing. It was founded on the 10th of January, 1920, following the peace conference from World War I, which we talked about and how it split up the Middle East and all these countries. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Ottoman Empire was split up into like over 13 or 14 countries, from Turkey all the way to Morocco. So that was one thing. And then it didn't work out too well. They argued a lot. And the Covenant of the League of Nations wasn't really an exciting document to sign with, although it was signed on the 28th of June, 1990. They didn't have a charter. They didn't have a constant. They have a covenant. It sounded very religious to me. Anyway,
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, under the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, and then they, of course, went to Paris and talked for a few years, and finally signed on January 16th, 1920, meeting of the Assembly of the League took place on the 15th of November, 1920. During World War II, it sort of fell apart. No kidding, because Mussolini and Hitler left, and then, of course, after the UN came about, in September 28th, 1934, 1935, and 58 members joined. 192 now. There isn't a country in the world that's not a member of the United Nations.
Really?
Big surprise.
I thought there were several that weren't members.
Well, there are, but they're not important, like North Korea.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't think. I don't
really. That's not even, I don't know. You call that a country? It's more like a playland, right? Like
I was going to say, you don't want Kim's sister sitting in there getting on her bad side.
No, exactly.
Well, in 1944, German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel committed suicide rather than face execution for allegedly conspiring against Adolf Hitler. Ooh.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And another amazing military, brilliant guy. It's famously said that the book he wrote, which he was famous for, or became globally famous for after leaving, in 1937. The Infantry Attacks was the name of his book, but it was famously said that Patton read it.
Yeah, and knew how to take him out.
Yeah, in North Africa. Yeah, well, Monty Montgomery was trying to find him, and Patton found him, and bang, nailed it. But anyway,
figured that
long
out.
story.
Yeah.
In 1944, he was involved, or sort of accused of being involved in an assassination attempt. And Hitler gave him a choice of being shot in public, executed, and humiliated by trial, or they would. This is good. We'll take care of your family if you do yourself in. So he took the "I'll protect my family and do myself in" path. But very, very remarkable. He was brilliant. He was in the invasion of Poland and France, and he understood the importance of infantry with regards to mechanical equipment.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, went to West Point with Eisenhower for a year, so he was at least had American education as to military tactics and things like that. So
he knew Bradley, and he knew Patton. They were all at West Point the same. It's an amazing case. You can make the comparison to 100 years before with Napoleon, because the cavalry was similar to literally what they called the mechanical cavalry of World War II, right? So,
right, yeah.
It's similar fighting, and certainly worked better than nothing could be better in any kind of war.
Yeah. But
it wasn't a war of attrition like World War I. Let's put it that way.
It is not. All right, we're going to take another short break. Johnny's Appliance wants to talk to you. ZipRecruiter, of course, and if you got a timeshare, you want to get rid of that timeshare, we'll take care of that for you. And if you need to hire people, well, of course, we got ZipRecruiter.
Yeah.
We got it all, man. We'll be right back. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14, 2019. It's 40 degrees outside. Looking for a high in the 50s today. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Egoloff, your morning mayor in the house. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. In 1947, Air Force pilot Charles Yeager became the first person to break the sound barrier when he flew the experimental Bell X-1 rocket plane over Edwards Air Force Base in California. The start of the space program, Shane.
100%, buddy. And the thing about this guy is he's a hero.
He is.
And we don't get a chance. We don't really get a chance to just say props to somebody who's a hero. But Chuck Yeager he was an outstanding individual, very brilliant. He got an engineering degree, like a lot of guys coming out of World War II, and went into wanted to be enlisted as either training or an experimental aircraft, and never blinked an eye when they picked him for the experimental, and this was the age of rockets and rocket engines, and like you said, the Bell X-1 at Mach 1, and the thing was is they wanted to do it at level flight because they didn't know what would happen, right? They didn't know if
Yeah.
the plane would blow up or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, or whether we just hit a barrier and
Exactly.
stop.
And he said, "Can we quit trying to do this? Like at 1 or 2,000 feet. Let's go high.
Yeah.
Let's go. Go up where the atmosphere is thinner."
Mm-hmm.
So he convinced them in that 45,000 feet, 13,700 meters for those of you that know how we have the metric system. Anyway, he won incredible all the good stuff, the Collier and the McKay trophies for flight, which were big at the time, for people to win back then. They're like the Grammys and the Oscars for entertainment in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But he never stopped. He went on from there. He became a brigadier general, and he was in the Air Force for 70 years.
Yeah.
And he had a lot to say about the Soviet Union and the Cold War. A lot of presidents, including Nixon and Reagan, they asked him, Chuck, what are we doing here? And he told them, he did.
Yeah.
So he was a great hero. This guy is just a hero.
He is. Well, 1960, Democratic presidential candidate John F. Kennedy suggested the formation of a Peace Corps during a talk at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, which was a great idea. From when it was implemented. When was it? September 21st, 1961, under a federal charter. 235,000 Americans have joined and gone overseas for a 2-year tour, and they get room and board basically, right? And it's a $400 million budget, and it's still around today. But I have issues with it because don't you think you need these people at home? Like, why would you be sending them overseas? There's so much to be done. I mean, Trump should pick the Peace Corps up and say, make it the Peace Corps of America, right?
Well, when you got half of the West Coast unemployed and living in tents on the streets, my wife was telling me the other day she heard that they're giving people bus tickets to somewhere else, and I'm I'm thinking, how do you fold that Cabela tent up and get it in the bus? I mean, we're there'd be not much room. Where you sit with that thing on your lap. As you head for Arizona or Utah or somewhere?
Well, judging from a lot of stuff that's happening in California with regards to the next year, ballots and stuff they want on the ballot to vote, I think they've reached a tipping point. I think people are, even the lefties, they don't want to say it.
Well,
they don't want to.
They're definitely sick of it. I know that.
Oh gosh.
Well, and they're losing business right and left, and their poverty rate is off the charts, and they just keep hemorrhaging money, and
Well, and they think throwing money at something is a solution, and it isn't. There's never, unless you have a specific idea in hand, right? You got to come up with a plan, baby.
Yes, you do. You got to have a plan.
You got to have a plan.
Yeah. So get off the street, you bum. Get a job.
Read my business plan. You'll figure it out.
That's right. Well, on this date in 1964, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was named the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize for all his work in the southern states to register people to vote and all the other things he did. So,
wow, what a day! Here you have an example of another great American hero, educated. I mean, seriously, well educated. But he took the path of Mahatma Gandhi. And, nonviolence, civil disobedience, but, he was a Christian and I'm not going to fight you anymore. I'm just going to protest and I'm just going to tell you you're wrong. And ultimately it cost him his life. And sadly along the way, the FBI, they tapped him, they filmed him, they tried to ruin his life. He was,
Yeah, J. Edgar wasn't very happy with him, so.
Yeah, well, he was popular. He had people.
Oh,
chased.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a rock star. So, I mean.
Yeah. But I think Hoover was pretty much anti-black and anti-Semitic and everything else, that he wanted the pure America, much like many of the Southerners at the time did. So he was very cordial with them, I guess I should
Yeah,
say.
well, Herbert Hoover, he was a Democrat. Remember, appointed by, and but anyway, I Have a Dream, famous speeches to this day that he did in 1963, on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Wow, what a guy!
Yeah. All right, we got to take another short break. Shane, we've got a caller waiting on the line, so if you could chat with them, we'll be right back right after these important words. 5 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Shane Matava has been chatting with a caller, so let's go to the phones. No caller there? Okay.
Yeah.
There?
Okay, well, you're shaking your head no, and that tells me there's
no.
You go, caller, you shake your head yes that the caller's on the line, right? Caller, I almost got rid of you there because of what's up?
Hey, Tom, it's Chris Griffin.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
And as Shane and I were just talking, because I took exception to Shane's comment that money should be spent, Peace Corps money should be spent in America. Well, that's where AmeriCorps comes in, which I believe was initiated under Clinton.
You're right.
And what is happening with AmeriCorps is some absolutely amazing stuff. It's Peace Corps missions done here in the United States. And, Shane's counter argument was, well, scrap the Peace Corps and just spend that money back here in furthering. He didn't say AmeriCorps, but I would assume that he would like it to be folded into a mission similar to that. But yeah,
I didn't say scrap it. I said change the name to Peace Corps America is what I said, because it's another agency. And in your conversation with me, I wasn't disagreeing with you. What I said is here we go again. Instead of adapting something to help America, they came up with another agency to do it, which just costs more money. And so I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that there has to become a point where we have to really look at what we can or can't afford to do for other countries as first world countries, and what we should be doing for people in our own countries.
Well, I will defend the Peace Corps, because you know what you need to know to join the Peace Corps is post and lintel building. So you can go and teach post and lintel building with basic carpentry skills in a foreign country to build better and sharper, much more sustainable housing rather than, and dare I say...
Yeah, but don't you think that's needed in Arkansas? Don't you think that's needed in
Mississippi
Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, New York, Michigan, Detroit?
That's what shop class is needed for. Why don't you train those teenagers, and dare I invoke the name of Brian Popeil, who's talking about now bringing women into
your education system doesn't want to allow it. They don't want to pay for the cost, and there's a capital cost to it. And we always talk about this in business. It's the same with education. There's a capital cost in having a metal shop and a wood shop and teaching guys how to paint and teaching them an auto shop in a high school. And the space, so it takes up a massive amount of space, which means less schoolrooms, fewer teachers. Come on, Chris, you know what's going on here. Come on, don't act like you don't.
That means, though, that people will have teenagers, young adults that know how to build if they do that. So
they don't want to do it. It's
a government program.
Well,
why not do it in?
The other thing you have to consider...
Why not do it in an education program?
The other thing you have to consider is that in many cases they won't be able to utilize that skill because the union won't let them in.
Exactly. And on top of it, a perfect example is when we talk about this, and AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, education, whatever. Well, why do all the children in America leave high school and don't even know how to open a bank account?
Yeah.
How to balance, how to manage, getting a paycheck and how to manage that money.
I'm not even sure you have home ec anymore.
No, you don't.
So
I loved it. I had fun.
So what you would suggest, and you would be completely agreeable with the funding of the Peace Corps go into schools in America.
No, that's not what I said.
No.
Now, I know that's not what you said. I'm asking is
No,
because that's the logical
I
conclusion.
I think the Peace Corps has spent 60 years helping others, and as you say, they know how to build a home somewhere else in the world. They should come home. I mean, you got a 95-year-old retired president that's out building homes in the United States for people without homes.
Yes, you are.
That's true.
So why not take that $400 million and go build homes for people? Like, we got to go.
Yeah, we do. We're up against the clock. Thanks, Chris.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, we'll be right back with local stuff right after this. Stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019. 40 degrees outside. And Tom and Shane on the line. And before we get cracking on local stuff and some other things, I wanted to talk to you about something important. Because it's important. Right, Shane?
Okay. Well, Mayor, everything you talk about is important. Okay, so fire away, buddy.
Well, I want to talk to you about BozemanMagazine.com because we are up for a couple of awards over there, and we'd like to encourage you to vote for us over there, and I'm going to give you some reasons why you should. I'm up for a local celebrity. The station's up for news source. Stations up for local radio DJs. That's Shane and myself. We're up for the best local radio show and the best local radio station. And I'm up for the most luscious local radio voice. So
there you go.
I don't know if I want to win that one, but I would like to win the best show. And I'll tell you why. Because this show is different from all the others that are nominated. Michelle Wolf is nominated at Moose. Dave and Allie at XL Country. Will at KISS. And Jesse James also is all the personalities here are in there. But the one big difference is that, and this is what I want to talk to you about why you should vote, is because this show is about 80% Shane and I. And it's 20% of listeners, callers, texters, and emailers. So, in essence, when you vote for us, you're voting for yourselves because you're a part of this, and the other shows don't take calls, and the other shows, you hear the same top 40 songs, right? I mean, we give you at least something here. whether you like it or not, whether you like the info we put out or not, but because in essence, this show, the other shows obviously are background in many cases. They're on at work and you're working and music's playing in the background. Us, you kind of pay attention to in many ways. So we hope that you'll go to BozemanMagazine.com. It's the 2020, not the 2019. It's the 2020 over there. And vote for us in the various categories because you obviously are listening to us now. You like the station. Many of you listen all day long. So, you're in this with us. So that's what I wanted to say briefly about that particular thing that, that we have something different here, quite a bit different, in fact. So we hope that you'll go to BozemanMagazine.com and put your vote in for us. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Call you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
We're all in this together, Tom.
We are
really?
all in this together, man.
Oh my gosh, it's a family.
You never go down alone, baby.
That's
always
it.
Take somebody
That's
with
right.
you. That's it.
That's right. Well, if I go down, Shane's going with me.
Exactly.
We take
Yeah,
as many as you
we're
can.
waiting. We're wading into the water, the deep water together.
That's right.
Well, I wanted to give a reply to Chris because my kids are both fresh out of high school here in Bozeman.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good curriculum there, but I tell you what, I'm an employer as well, and I swear to God, the other day I had to take a 21-year-old kid from here and literally walk him through how to mail a letter. And it just, you know, the education system here is nothing to be counted on. Period.
Wow.
My one son skipped college, the other one is going, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But you know, it's not the school system of 40, 50 years ago.
No, not when I was in school. Was it for you, Tom? Yeah.
Well, it seems like what they're doing right now is they're simply they've got these state tests that they have to pass to prove to somebody somewhere that they're teaching kids a balanced education, but I don't think that's happening.
But let's get real.
Yeah.
How many times have I had to stop and help some kid change the tire because he doesn't have a clue where the jack in the car is?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, or balance your checkbook, as Shane pointed out earlier.
The day I bought my kid's car, okay, that's the first thing they had to do was jack up, take the tire off, and put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just the common, simple, little things that you might learn in a stupid shop class. And that's I'm being facetious when I say that.
Yeah.
Are way more important than people realize. And if you let those go and they gradually let them work them out of the system,
Well, you learn so many things. You learn measurement. You learn angles. You learn
not to cut your finger off.
That's good.
You learn how to make a decision.
Yeah, that too.
That too.
Even if you make an ugly ashtray, you still you still accomplish something.
Well, I was taught by my shop teacher that an okay decision today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow.
That's right.
You're making a decision, going with it.
Yeah, that's it.
So
I mean, I learned from the wood shop guy I had in junior high. That was in Denver at the Thomas Jefferson High School. He would say, you have to make a decision. No decision is indecision. You can't get anything done.
Yep, that's right.
Right. And you spend so much time wasting time. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. All right, guys. Thanks for the show.
Thanks for the call.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, excellent.
That's why we love Mondays, right, Mayor?
That's right. Hey, we get a little of everything here. From our text line, 478-8298, Manhattan has home economics and shop. Please don't move to Manhattan. We're full. So, right.
Fabulous. Yeah.
And we got a whole bunch of political stuff on the text line as well that we'll get to shortly. But we want to do some local stuff here because we're supposed to be a local station. We're supposed to talk about local events and things and whatever's going on. And the Bozeman Chronicle is doing a state of change. It's a series of climate change which are biased as much as they can be, I guess, for being a liberal rag that they are. So they're talking about the coal mine at Westmoreland Rosebud Mine near Colstrip, and they assume, or at least they're predicting that there's enough recoverable coal for at least another 20 years of mining, and that could mean 20 years of steady income for miners, power plant employees and their families, another 20 years of profits for local businesses, money for school, cash for Montana Coal Severance Tax Trust Fund, which pays for countless state services, and another 20 years of sky-high rates of carbon emissions from coal-fired power plants. So what's the trade-off here anyway?
There's no trade-off. It's just, this is where you say,
yeah,
I've heard this story before.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. But
yeah.
Well, they're talking about that coal is declining in many cases because of natural gas, and that's
right.
That's not a bad thing at all. That that we're relying more on natural gas, but natural gas is not going to get hot enough to create steel or some other industries where the heat is what is needed, and coal is the Oil's not going to do it. Natural gas isn't going to do it. So, you got to have coal to generate enough heat to melt steel and build automobiles and whatever, unless you're going to make them all out of plastic, but.
That's right. And we talked about this briefly last week. The other problem being, of course, is that the cost to recover this new age oil and gas from fracking in North America is like we're sort of putting money down a black hole because, the cost to produce it right now is less than what it's selling for. That's it. That's just the bottom line.
Well, the other thing, too, is that most of the renewable energy that we have at the moment, wind and solar, have to be subsidized in order for them to be effective. And they also argue coal is too valuable to cast aside because of the economic opportunity it offers and the reliable power it provides. And I would tend to go along with that. I don't think you're going to get rid of coal. You're not going to get rid of oil. What you're going to have to do is just learn to live with it somehow or other.
Well, but you've developed all the cleaning and scrubbing for coal, number one, so you can burn it clean. You've done it. You've done it since the 1970s, number one. Number two, per BTU, least expensive, half the cost of oil and gas. So, this is one of the things. I don't think that people make an effort to sell the story well enough to tell but the reason is because of this whole issue of oil independence, and it's a very major problem. It's a problem.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that, Colstrip is they're going to shut down 2 of them in the Colstrip power plant. And Colstrip and other Montana coal towns are living in uncertain times. It's not just the uncertainty of what will happen to coal jobs, but how the state and towns will respond and where are they going to get their electricity from? Where's it going to come from? So that's the question. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these important words, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. 20 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019, 39 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line, half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And, talking about Colstrip and the other thing that's kind of interesting in this article, regardless of what you may or may not think, people can agree Montana is unprepared for industry changes brought on by the need, Shane, to respond to climate change. The need to respond.
We saw what the media did with the fires in Indonesia, Australia, and Brazil.
Yeah.
And then you have the fires in California, and now they've just returned 97% of the people, 2 million, that lost power back. But there's no story about, these burning hills of grass that happen every year. It's a seasonal thing. And they don't talk about it because it doesn't fit their narrative. Yeah. But people are still losing homes. People are still without power, and people are still having to experience fires.
Yeah.
Wow. Start cluing in on this stuff, really. You know what I mean?
Well, you'd think you would go in there with Roundup and take all that grass out.
Well, because the environmentalists say then
you have mudslides.
That's right. You got it. They needed to maintain
the integrity of the ground.
Oh my gosh!
It goes.
You know what, Tom? It's almost laughable, isn't it? Seriously, it is. It's almost laughable.
We're talking about the whole world here.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And if I go out and buy a curly bulb, is that going to keep people from bursting into flame at the equator, or glaciers coming across our northern border, killing those hogs that you're sending us?
Well, I watched a movie last night about this, and it was quite a pretty good movie. But the point is that what occurred to me watching this movie was that it's called Geostorm. And anyway, but the point of the movie was, everybody says man's creating, global warming and climate change. But the reverse question of that is, really, do you think he can stop what you think he's causing? No, seriously. You think man can do something to control the weather either way? Either way.
Yeah.
control it to try and prevent it, or we're doing something to cause it. Like,
what if the pendulum swings too far? What if we do too much? Then we're in an ice age. Then what do we do?
Well, that's right.
We've only got 12 years before we're buried in 7 miles of ice.
That's right. And no candles, because we couldn't melt the wax to make them.
That's right. Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know either, but it'll be interesting.
Well, that's why it's so. You know, the record for Death Valley was set in 1935. we have the record hadn't been broken since 1935 in Death Valley. You would think if it's going to get warm anywhere, Death Valley would be the place you'd want to go start looking.
That's right.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and then you find out on the weekend that the Obama administration advanced his publisher when he was president $350 million to deal with language issues with regard to racism.
Oh yeah.
And then he leaves office, and that publisher turns around and gives him a $65 million contract for a book. You know, no quid pro quo there. Now, I'm not bringing that up to, be obnoxious. But what I'm saying is that both sides, I mean, the same stuff's happening, right? Like, and that news we just heard that Biden quit the Chinese.
Yeah, the board. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later on. But
that's what I mean.
Well, the other thing is, how many stories have you seen, Shane, about Florida being underwater?
That's right.
How many stories have you seen about Hawaii being underwater?
Exactly. Or New York City.
Yeah, or New York City. Yeah, is Manhattan? You think Manhattan would be pretty nastily scared about all this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it did take a hurricane to flood the subway, but amazingly enough, 2 days later it was up and running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, seriously?
And our former president decides he'll buy a little shack on the water's edge as well.
On an island.
On an island, yeah. So I got to tell you, man, I'm getting conflicting stories here. You know,
yeah, it's concerning me. I don't know what to do, and I'm an alpha male. I try to make decisions like we were talking about in the last block, right? But these people are confusing me. How can I make it? No wonder children are speaking at the UN.
Well, I guess apparently. Well, in other news, Montana Secretary of State Cory Stapleton has put himself in a bind here. He put tens of thousands of miles on a state-owned pickup truck and used it extensively during weekends and holidays in addition to other travel that legislative auditors said violated state policy. So a state audit of the Secretary of State's office covering 2 fiscal years ending in June 2018 found Stapleton's travel to his home in Billings violated policy. After auditors questioned the use, Stapleton returned the vehicle to the motor pool in March of 2019. So the audit completed earlier this year found Stapleton improperly used the pickup truck to commute from Helena to Billings, where he said he teleworked part-time from January 2017 through June 2018.
Meanwhile, the state legislatures in California are granted $500,000 in their budget for travel in a car of their choice and for fuel. Yeah. Wow, what a difference, right? Amazing. I mean, how can you not? I mean, these people are citizen legislatures, and you can't help them out. Like they're crazy. Like,
yeah.
No, but I'm saying your state government has virtually, it's got to be like 20% or 30% of the cost of these legislatures in states that run, 24/7, 365 days a year, like Florida, New York, California, and so forth. No, not Texas. It's a citizen.
Yeah.
You think like providing, and in a state, it takes you a day to drive across Montana.
Yeah. Takes you a day by plane to get across Montana.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're coming from Glasgow or Malta or somewhere,
exactly.
You got an overnight stop on the way, maybe.
Yeah, if you're going north from Denver over the polar cap to get to Europe, half the trip is flying over Montana.
I was going to say, that's pretty close to it.
Anyway.
Man. Well, in other local news, Brian Lemires is running. He's making his second mayoral run. He should have talked to me. I'll tell you how easy it is to be the morning mayor.
That's right.
Yeah. He's a city employee of 23 years, and of course is going up against Bozeman's mayor. Cindy Andrus is also running for the commission in 2022. And as you know, the mayor's elected, and then they sit out a year while the current mayor finishes their term, and then they go in a couple years later. So in the 2020 or 2019 election, either Cindy or Brian will be in there, and Chris Mell is the deputy mayor. He'll be the new mayor when we go in, and he'll be mayor for a couple of years. And I don't know, maybe Jeff Krause will explain all that tomorrow.
That would be
that
good.
Works, that's just kind of yeah. We also need to mention Kenny Chesney is going to come to Bobcat Stadium in July, so that should be quite a get together over there, and he'll be coming back for the first time in 20 years. Montana State University announced that the other day. So tickets will go on sale October 25th at 10 a.m. Wow, for a July concert.
In the sun.
There you go. All right.
Raisin beer. Let's go, baby.
Prices range from $37.50 to $165.50, depending on where you want to sit. So we'll be right back right after these important words. So stay tuned. A lot more Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane yet to come. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14, 2019, 39 degrees outside. Guess I need to make a little bit of a public announcement here that as many of you know, the God Squad was here last year, I guess, on October 3rd, and Shane and Rabbi Ed got into it a little bit on that show. And the God Squad has decided that they are no longer going to participate with us here on the KMMS Morning Show with Tom and Shane. So we regret that. We always thought they were good radio, although many of the callers and texters did not always agree with their position on things. The whole point of being here is all views are welcome here. And there are going to be some people who are going to take exception to those views and voice their discontent. So we are sorry to see them go, but we certainly understand that being on radio, you do expose yourself to opposing points of view and different thoughts about you personally, and so. We just wanted to let folks know that no more God Squad. So,
we could make an effort to put another squad together.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we could do that, I guess. The other thing is that if you want to hear that show, it's on October 3rd on our website at kmmsam.com. And to Shane's credit, he did apologize the following morning, so you can. Not that he needed to, but he apologized because he went off a little strongly in his comments. So anyway, you could judge for yourself by October 3rd and 4th. I believe those shows are both online at kmmsam.com.
Well, and it's really hard for, if you're extroverted, not introverted, withdrawn and quiet. And most people doing what we do are extroverted. So the hardest thing for you and me to do, and we do it every day, is to maintain our emotions.
Well, that's true.
Because there's so many things. They're good, bad, terrible. Mm-hmm. Like this cyclone in Havabis or whatever that's hit Japan. And, and nobody reads about it or talks about it. And, there's hundreds of thousands of people stranded in Northern Ireland. I mean, things like that. Mm-hmm. So
it's very tough for the various shootings that we have to cover and things like that. I mean, this is an emotional roller coaster here. Many mornings with all the things we that we have to talk about. And, it's not as easy as it sounds being on the air, but let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hi there. Shane, I don't think you had one reason to apologize. The other fellow was really rude. Really rude. I listen every morning, and that was quite an exchange that he challenged you terribly. So,
well, that's very kind of you. Thank you for coming. You're my sweetheart today.
Well,
and it's Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm very thankful.
That's right. Shane's working on a holiday today.
That's right.
That's right, and taking the way you did, that was quite incredible. So,
well, thank you.
Well, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yes, very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye. It was. Well, getting back to Cory Stapleton from our text line, 478-8298, LA Unified School District owns 6 Bell turboprop helicopters to get the school board to meetings. We're worried about a few miles on a state motor pool truck.
What did you just say? What? How many helicopters?
They got six Bell turboprop helicopters to get the school board to meetings in LA Unified School District. So I guess they have to fly from I guess they don't want to, the 405 may be full, so.
How many emergency flight helicopters do you have?
I don't have not a clue.
Well, we got to ask Krause that question.
Well, yeah, I would think so. I don't know how many. I know we don't have any helicopters to get Krause to the meetings, but I know we've got life flight helicopters around the place that fly people to hospitals and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 6? Wow.
Yeah, I guess the city commissioners all ride in the Bearcat to.
Wow.
I don't know. Anyway, let's take a phone call and we got to take a quick break. Caller, you are on the air. What's going
on? Here's another conflict that came up, or let's call it misunderstanding, that Daniel R. Peterson, who's also 75, and Tom is, when are you going to be 76?
November 10th.
Yeah, you'll pull ahead of me, but I said I was protesting.
I've always been ahead of you, Daniel. Go ahead.
You said that when I was protesting the Vietnam War, you were fighting the Vietnam War, so I was fighting against you. I was in the midst of it. I wasn't the periphery type. I've never been the periphery type. We weren't thinking about the soldiers. We were thinking about the idea of trying to batter a little country for God knows what reason. We weren't. It's a myth that we were putting down the soldiers. I ought to know. In fact, one of my...
I would simply point you to the fact of how we were treated when we returned, Daniel. We were called baby killers. We were spit on. We had stuff thrown on us. Yeah. You couldn't walk through. You couldn't walk through the airport in your uniform. As soon as I got off the plane, I went into the bathroom and changed.
Yeah. Well, that's another point. Let's not say we were and some abstract. How much were you spit on and how much were you put down? Give me specific examples.
Well, as I just pointed out, going through airports, I couldn't walk through an airport because I witnessed many people getting in the face of soldiers and calling them names and. Not everybody was spit on. Not everybody had food or drinks or whatever thrown on them, but there was certainly plenty of evidence, and it's all over YouTube if you want to go talk to or listen to soldiers who were beat up and, well, not beat up physically, but certainly beat up verbally.
And you have to and Daniel, you have to answer for the 4 million Vietnamese that died after the Americans left, and the 8 million Cambodians that died under Pol Pot. So I mean, there's quite a bit. Maybe not an exclusive genocide, but there was quite a genocide after.
That's true. Yeah. Also too, one of the reasons we left is we were supposed to arm the South Vietnamese, and we didn't do it.
In the Constitution, are we supposed to be the world policeman? Where does this idea come from? It's
who would you rather like to see as the world policeman? You want to see China, North Korea? Want to see them be the world policeman?
Things to take its course. It's like the American Civil War. Would you like several countries to come in here and try to push us around and entice us to become their allies? And
well, Britain did.
Frenchmen now instead of independent English speakers.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and defend that the Vietnam War was the right war, but if you want to contrast the Vietnam War with, say, World War II, where people went out and sold war bonds and people gave up coffee and sugar and nylon and everything else to support the war effort, that we weren't attacked or there was probably no danger of Germany coming to America, but we also had to defend our allies. And when you contrast that with the Vietnam War, where everything that was reported was atrocities, and we were, the worst possible people since Genghis Khan over there, and I can't do that. I'm sorry, Daniel, I'm running up against a break here. I've got to take a break.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. All right. We'll be right back right after this. 11 minutes before the top of the hour. This will be kind of a short segment here. We went a little long on Daniel's phone call, and that's fine. All views are welcome here, but we do have a clock, and we do have responsibility to our sponsors, so we sort of have to do some of these things, So, in other local news, John Tester showed up over in Livingston Friday. Had a town hall meeting over there. A lot of folks showed up, and they're talking about climate change, impeachment, mental health services, the VA, all kinds of things over there. So if anybody went to that meeting and would like to comment, give us a call. 522-TALK, 522-8255. We'll be happy to entertain what happened over there if you were there. About 165 people showed up, and Tester made note of the large turnout, joking that attendees could instead be out fishing, but instead chose to be involved in their political process. So good for them, all the people that attended over there. Tester highlighted the work done locally in conjunction with his office in the Yellowstone Gateway Protection Act, and signed into law earlier this year to permanently protect from mining 30,000 acres of public land just north of Yellowstone National Park. And he also told the crowd that some places are not meant for mining, and that this is one of them. So,
well, he's been a busy guy. He got 2 things done so far this year. Wow.
Well, I guess so. All right. All right, we got to take that second break here again. I don't know. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes, so stay tuned. 5 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14, 2019, 38 degrees outside. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, is on the line with me, as always. And Shane is working on a holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. Canada Thanksgiving is today, I believe. And
that's right. Yeah.
And you binged on turkey and potatoes and yams and pumpkin pie and everything else yesterday, I hope.
That's right. Twice baked potatoes.
Ooh,
everybody likes
there you are.
I like twice baked potatoes. And then we had asparagus with crab and cream cheese baked. And baked asparagus with salt and pepper and some olive oil. And then we had yams.
Wow.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And Brussels sprouts, stuffing, gravy.
Yeah. Did you invite any first citizens to your shindig?
Yeah, right. First citizens. Yeah. Yeah,
Isn't that what they're called? Isn't that what they're called? They're not Indians, or they're not indigenous. They're first citizens, aren't they?
They're first citizens.
Yeah,
right.
in Canada. Yeah. So
there were 7 of us, so it was quite an undertaking.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not easy. It's not. It's a lot of work to do that.
Well, I don't know. Thanksgiving and football, you gotta have that stuff going on, and it's one of our great holidays. The biggest drinking day of the year is the day before Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Because everybody comes in from out of town, we all go out and hit the bars. Right. I guess, or we bring 40 cases of booze into the house. One of the two, I guess. So
that's right. And turkey dinner is like Chinese food. In an hour, you're hungry.
Yeah.
So then you go to the kitchen, you make that hot, that hot chicken sandwich. Bread, chicken, and gravy.
Yeah, gravy over it. Yeah, the open face turkey sandwich with the hot gravy and everything on it. A little cranberry sauce on the side, and that's good eating in the neighborhood.
That's right. And you do it on a large plate because you got to put a slab of pumpkin pie on.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, you got to have that. And you got to cover it completely in whipped cream, of course.
That's right.
That's good eating in the neighborhood. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see from our text line. 4788298. Nice tongue-in-cheek comment, Tom. But from what I've heard frequently, most of your listening audience has also been ahead of Daniel. When Tester was campaigning for senator, in his ads, his wife touted his ability to work across the aisle. What BS. At the meeting in Livingston, all Tester did was exclusively promote the Democrats' agenda. Remember, he is owned by the lobbyist probably as much as any congressman.
Wow.
So
that's
that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah. Well, I guess he has been busy.
Yeah. Trump is more like Pee Wee Herman than Eisenhower.
Yeah.
This is why Trump agreed to the genocide of America's allies. I feel so sick. Trump just cut a $2 billion deal with Erdogan to build a huge resort condo facility at USA, European, Russians, over 2 Kurds' ancestors' archaeological digs, and the damming for a lake. Wow. Well, good for him. I mean, that's pretty good if you can pull out and then get a hotel out of it, a resort out of it. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. So
meanwhile, he's announcing, today that he's implementing sanctions on him, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say they're sure going to like that. What do you get for a resort? You get sanctions.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. Plus, I seriously doubt if Trump's sitting in the Oval Office making hotel deals. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, not happening.
I don't think so.
Well, just for a moment, think about how cool that job could be. I mean, if he didn't have all the Yanks, but I mean, all the technology and you got all the people there to take care of you. I mean, it's it do as you want kind of job, right? Like.
Well, pretty much,
You go down to the secret hole and you can find out anything that's going on from a drone anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if I was president, the first thing I'd want to do is go down there and see those tunnels where JFK brought Maryland in.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see those tunnels, man, down there. I want to see what's in the basement of that place. Let's see. See what there must be graffiti on the wall from some of these chicks down there. I mean, come on. Kilroy was here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this hour. We still got a full hour ahead. We've got to jump out of here for a few minutes. It's 59 minutes after the hour. And, hey, we'll be back with more right after the news at the top of the hour. So stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Monday, October 14, 2019, Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day to those of you who are off. And it's Turkey Day in Canada, Thanksgiving Day. Shane's working on a holiday to show you his dedication. He could have easily asked for today off and sit back and enjoyed leftovers and whatever, slept in. But
no,
he's here.
Missed a Monday morning with the mayor? Forget it. That was an easy choice.
Yeah. Well, we got kind of a fun poll question for you today. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? 35% of you seem to like vanilla. 14% like chocolate, 14% like coffee, 7% like cookies and cream, and 7% like mint chocolate chip. And I'd rather have some fruit and cottage cheese any day over ice cream. Well, there you are. Yeah.
Yogurt.
And another texture likes Moose Tracks, and another one likes Huckleberry and chocolate together. So. Well, there you go. But I like fruit and cottage cheese myself. So I think pineapple. You put some crushed pineapple and cottage cheese, man. That's pretty good stuff. So
it is indeed. Yeah. It's a great lunch snack, right?
It is, yeah.
Fruit and vegetables raw at lunch. That's what I have.
Yeah. That's that's good for you because you're.
I'm dieting at 65.
I was going to say, yeah, you gotta diet a little bit. So. Well, in 5 things you need to know, we might actually get 5 things you need to know today, Shane.
Oh my God! I don't even think I put it up.
It's been so long since we've done that. Well, the Kurds strike a deal with Syrian government amid Turkish onslaught, and Turkey just kind of went in there and just started taking the Kurds out pretty well. Civilians, kids, dogs, cats, you name it, anything that they could shoot, they kind of took care of. And so under this agreement announced Sunday, Syrian government troops will be able to enter Kurdish-controlled northeastern Syria for the first time in years. And the United States and the Syrian Democrat Forces, a Kurdish-led militia, spent the last several years as allies fighting against the Islamic State. So that was against ISIS, obviously. They don't want to say the Islamic State translates to religious fanatics.
Yes. Well, okay, so let's put it in perspective. Oh, oil. So Erdogan from Turkey wants the pipeline in the northern part of Syria that goes to Turkey protected because he gets all that oil from Iraq.
Right.
And then you got the 400,000 barrels a day that Syria produces that the Kurds control. So, so the Kurds make a deal with Syria, for the oil that they control. I mean, come on, folks, let's get this right.
Yeah. It's kind of it's a little confusing to the untrained eye.
Exactly. But perfectly clear when you open the eyes.
That's right. All right. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Jerry. How are you?
Good morning.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks, Shane, for being with us on this holiday.
Oh, my pleasure.
We appreciate it. I'd like to ask Shane a question. From where you sit in Canada, and being outside the country, do you see a war going on here in the United States?
Oh gosh, yeah. I've openly talked about it. I've expressed my opinion about the Democratic Party and what they're up to. They're basically a regional party. They're not a national party. I think they're inciting another civil war. I think that it's hidden behind this whole idea of sanctuary cities. I think that the 2020 election will be significant, and they'll deny it. And then I think they'll push cities in your country to secede from the union and become city states. That's what I think they're going.
Yeah, and it's not only the liberalism idealism that they their narrative. We're being invaded by communism. We're being invaded by religious beliefs that aren't exactly what our country was founded on. We're being invaded in the southern border. But the declaration of war that I'm most concerned about is that which has been declared by representatives of our own government.
Well, yeah, and we, you can see it as an example with this whole thing with the NBA. I mean, how outrageous! These guys have had an opportunity to create a multi-billion-dollar industry in the last 60 years. That they're basically the sport, and have made fortunes. And they sit and tell Americans how terrible they are, how racist, but then they endorse a Chinese government that's fascist.
I hear you.
No, I mean, like, where are all these liberals with 1 million Muslims in cages in China?
Well, you won't hear them say anything because
I know, that's the problem.
Yeah, because and like you said, I think a couple of days ago, it's all about the money over there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And the declaration of war, though, has been declared by a select committee chairman in this most recent thing. They're hiding things behind closed doors, and then they leak things to the press, and of course the press has declared war on. And these folks have declared war on the voters, the people that actually put this man in office. And I think if anybody should go out and protest, it should, go out and protest against, this war that's going on internally. And
well, constitutionally, what they're doing is horrific because they don't think Americans care or think or pay attention. But what Nancy Pelosi has done and her committee chairmen have done is they've taken and created a non-existing committee that meets secretly, basically, because they don't allow any representation from the. I mean, they have to allow any committee they create because they can create committees all they want, but it has to be they're usually 21 to 25, and and with it, whoever's got the majority has one more vote, right?
Yeah, well, but
if it wasn't for the Republicans sitting in these meetings, listening to who they're talking, no one would know what's going on.
No, and the biggest perpetrator, I think, is Adam Schiff.
No, please.
I mean, this man won't let go. But there's an old saying, and I'll close with this little anecdote. There's an old saying: Samson ended a war with the jawbone of an ass. Isn't it strange that the same thing will start one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
Very good.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening, Jerry. Appreciate it. All right. From our text line, 478-8298, I got a great idea. Bummed out to see the God Squad go, but fill the spot. You could have Daniel R. come into the studio. We can do that. Tom, since Shane decided to work on the holiday, I hope he's at least getting paid overtime. Well, he is. 0 times 0 is a big payday for Shane.
Yeah, I get double time.
Yeah. If you don't believe Trump is making personal deals out of the White House, you're pretty foolish. Well, be pretty tough to do that, I think, with all the phone calls being monitored and recorded and everything else that, and everybody coming in has to sign in and all that. So I don't know. It seems, what, are you going to have the lawyer come in and sit down with a 44-page contract with Turkey and for this hotel and go over it bit by bit and make changes and whatever? I don't think so. Anyway, let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Calling you on the air. What's up?
Do you care if I change the subject?
I don't care.
How about you,
good sir? Well, as long as it's not about water, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It ain't about water.
Right.
Okay.
I get sick of that. Well, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
The God Squad, religion and politics we should never discuss.
That's true. That's true.
But I kind of got a kick out of them, but they never did answer my question.
Which one was that?
Well, I want to know what kind of a chariot that Jesus Christ and Muhammad took when they left the earth.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the question I got.
It was a DeLorean.
Well, I don't know. You're watching too much movie. Huh?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You two guys believe in UFOs?
Well, I don't disbelieve in UFOs. How about that?
Well, I believe in them. I've seen them.
I know you've seen them. And
I've seen them, and I told everybody about it. But, now the Navy, I see they're on the television.
But we got to make that, because you brought it up now. We have to make this. We have to say this because.
Okay.
The thing is they're malevolent. They're not benevolent. Because if they're benevolent, if they're actually here and they were benevolent, they would have taken us out.
Well, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's another theory. There's another theory with UFOs because of the distances in space.
Exactly.
A lot of people think that the UFOs are us from the future coming back to kind of get Trump in office, Well,
I think that's a bunch of BS. You know that.
I love that.
I tell you what I do think, though, in my own personal mind, I think that they're amongst us. They've been here for a long time. I think they're the ones that created us also. But anyway.
There is that possibility, that we were seeded here.
That's right.
All you have to do is look at Nancy Pelosi to believe that.
Well,
yeah, that's for sure.
Well, she's pretty much an alien, I think, and so is that gymnast Simone Bales. She's got to be an alien.
Well, Pestelneck he's right behind him. You know.
Well, his big eyes are two big cameras.
That's right.
That's right.
But the one thing. One thing that I really enjoy is when I got up this morning, I looked outside, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee, sitting in my easy chair, and the moon is looking right at me. And I thought to myself, of all the strife that's in the world and all the things that our politicians say and do that don't mean a damn thing to me anymore, it's just a bunch of crap. But when I looked outside and seen the moon, and I see the trees and the leaves, and I think to myself, my God, how lucky I am to live in a world as beautiful as this is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think to myself, I look at the people, and with such dissension they have with one another, it's hard to even go downtown anymore and talk to somebody, and they think if you talk to their children or something that you're a pervert, or if you try to talk to them, they run by you. But some people you can, and like Alan Fudd said on the TV program, children will say the damnedest things, and I love to do that. But anyway, I'm just saying, Shane, you said that we could have a civil war. We are in it right now. We're in a political civil war with our
it's
Republican.
political, absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jesse Ventura said the other day on RT television, he says what we needed was an independent candidate, a strong one, to put the two parties straight. And I kind of believe that. If we continue down the path that we're going, we're going to be like the North and the South. We're going to pit each other to a point to where we will have a civil war. And then you will find a big nation will come in and conquer you. But anyway, that's history. But the thing is, why don't we love each other more? Why don't we talk to each other more? Why don't we converse? Why don't we do a lot of things?
We do that every day here. What are you talking about?
Well, the big problem is, Clint, that social media has changed the fabric of America and how we communicate with each other, because when you're sitting in a dark room with a computer screen, you can insult people, you can call them names, you can, you can belittle their point of view, and there are plenty of people that you can make friends with who feel the same way you do.
Yep.
And that's our problem, that we've molded ourselves, instead of being Americans thinking of everyone, we molded ourselves into these little composite groups.
Right, I agree with you.
That only, it's our way or the highway.
Yeah.
You can't think differently from us, otherwise, that's all over.
Well, it's very dangerous.
Well, a perfect example is that John Tester can go over to Livingston with 165 people there. No conservatives are going to go over there with signs and start burning cars and stuff like that. But you try to do that with Steve Daines, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I understand.
So he does his by phone. And that's a shame that we live in a country where people can't meet, in public places without, some group who is totally intolerant of opposing views to be there.
Well, you've said it all. When you talked about the guard that's there at the federal building to go up and see Danes or anybody to get searched and everything, what's that saying about our country?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the point we've come to.
And remember, having a social life is real important. And real quick, bars for the last 200 years have been a place for social networking.
You sit on the bar stool and agree, and then you duke it out, and then you'd have a beer.
Well, I'll tell you something. When this country was founded, prior to the founding of this country, that's what they did.
Yeah,
that was in the bar. I forget the name of that bar.
Yeah,
that they all met in. John Adams and them when they met, and they British were after him. But that's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they drew out the Constitution on napkins.
Yep. Well, I don't know about napkins, but they thought about it a lot before they did.
Yeah.
And now
for sure.
Now the Democrats are trying to circumvent it to the best of their ability, and I think it sucks. But the country, the land and the trees and everything, God, I'm glad to be alive. It's a wonderful thing.
Amen. I got to go, Clint.
Okay. See you guys
Thanks,
later.
Man.
And have a good day.
You too. All right. We'll be right back with more after this. 25 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019. Happy Columbus Day, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, Shane. Thanksgiving in Canada or wherever the heck you are.
Well, Marin, thank you for the little banjo. I love that.
Yeah, a little banjo music for you there to kind of pep up your day.
Yep.
And let's see again from our text line, 478-8298. Let's see. I agree, Tom, and the media and the Chronicle. We're talking about social media there a little bit in the last segment. Never called one number I got in a bar ever. So, speaking of that, next time you go to your favorite local bar, take a felt pen with you.
Yes.
And in the bathroom, write for a good time, listen to Tom and Shane, AM 1450, 6 to 9. So, if you do that for us. And let's see, 15 years ago, I got to try some organic lavender ice cream. Haven't found it since, but it's still my favorite. All right. Organic lavender ice cream. Wow. Maybe the co-op has that. So I don't know. Let's see. Don the Con is now lying about a deal with China. Deflection and a total lie. Fools will buy it. So, well, the market hasn't reacted to the, they're in a commercial now. I'm not sure where they are with the
market is down 10, and the S&P is down 5, and NASDAQ is down 5.
Yeah,
it's been marginal.
You would have thought we would have got a little more traction. Well, it went up close to 28 again, or got to 28 after the announcement that there was a phase 1 deal with China that included intellectual property, but
but that's the way Trump negotiates.
Well, that's true,
and it's brilliant.
Yeah,
because if the Chinese come out and say, "Oh, there's no small agreement," they look like dodos.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Well, of course you agreed to it." No. Well, you said you're going to buy $40 billion or 40 billion tons of soybeans. Well, no, but they look like dodos. I mean, and it's great negotiating plan because you know what? I see it. Boy, I spent a lot of time this weekend, by the way. We should talk about it when we have 2 minutes about China.
Yeah.
But
all right. Sorry, Kurds. Maybe you should have built a Trump tower and he would care about you. And you people comparing Trump to Reagan, punch yourself in the head, you idiots. Reagan was a conservative.
Yep, he was, unless you forgot something. I don't know.
Yeah, so, all right. Let's see, 5 things you need to know. We're still on that. Video of fake Trump shooting, critics shown at the Miami conference. This is quite a story, Shane.
It is, yeah.
During a 3-day conference held by pro-Trump group American Priority last week, a video was shown depicting a fake President Trump gunning down, stabbing, and assaulting members of the media and political rivals. The conference was held at Trump National, Doral, Miami, I guess that is.
Yeah.
And the footage was recorded by an attendee who passed it along. through an intermediary. The conference's organizer said the clip was played as part of an exhibit on memes, and the matter is under review. Donald Trump Jr., former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis all attended the event, and Sanders told the Times she didn't know anything about the video, and a person close to Trump Jr. said he also didn't see it. But apparently it was there. So
yeah, but the great thing about this is that, you know, it's 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago in the park in New York City, and they had that play on, you know, assassinating your president, right?
That's right.
This is great. I love it.
All right, we'll be back. Stay tuned. A lot more to come on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. All right, it is 24 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019, and 38 degrees outside. We got a caller waiting on the line, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. 522-8255. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yes, Clint just called in a while ago.
Yeah.
And he was trying to think of that tavern in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When the old guys used to get together there and do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
That tavern was called Tun's Tavern.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, I knew somebody would know it out there.
And
is that it?
Well, I could tell you some other things.
Well, whatever. You're on the air. Whatever you want to say, go for it.
Yeah.
Hang on. What? Shane? I'm sorry. I didn't have you up because of the caller.
Oh, he's from Three Forks, and I wanted him to tell you when he joined the Marines and why.
Okay. When did you join the Marines and why?
Well, I turned 17 in January the 29th, and I joined the Marine Corps. And I was just turned 17 years old. I went to Paris Island in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. That's what happened there.
Why did you join?
Well, first of all, I'm from a big family, and in World War II, I had 6 brothers in the service.
Wow.
That is a big family.
Yeah.
There was one in the Army, one in the Air Force, and 4 in the Navy.
All right.
And they all, luckily, they all came home.
Well, that's good. We're glad of that. So.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, well, good for them. Nice family to do all that serving.
Yeah, he grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, north of Philadelphia, and moved to Montana because he wanted the freedom and peace. So he lives in Three Forks.
Well, all right. Well, you certainly get it there, I would think. So, all right. Well, we had a big typhoon. 40 people killed in Typhoon Hagibis.
Hagibis. Yeah, what a name.
Wow. One of the worst typhoons to hit Japan in recent memory. I wonder what that did to Fukushima.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or was it on the other side?
A little bit more of a flush there, right?
I don't know. Made landfall on Saturday in Honshu Island and went out to sea on Sunday morning, bringing devastating rain to central and eastern Japan. Meteorologists said that in several areas, about 40% of annual rainfall was recorded over the weekend. Wow, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, it is.
16 people are missing, 189 injured, and Prime Minister Abe said more than 110,000 people are participating in search and rescue efforts. Houses are flooded, levees have collapsed, trains and bridges are damaged, and roads across the country are under mud. So they are in real trouble over there. So
it is, and once again, one of these huge storms, and it was huge.
Yeah.
You know, like the one that hit the Bahamas, and the death toll is so small.
Yeah.
When you look at the destruction of those islands in the Bahamas, you think that like 5, 10, 20,000 people died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tough over there. So.
Yeah, so it's remarkable, the ability how resourceful the human being can be
All right, we got to take another quick break. We got a caller waiting on the line, Shane, and when we come back, we got to talk about Hunter Biden and his Chinese connections. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this. 17 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14th, 2019, 37 degrees outside. We got a caller waiting on the line that Shane's been waterboarding, I'm sure. So let's see what the callers have to say. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Well, I'm barely alive because of all the waterboarding.
I know, yeah. Shane's pretty tough.
Sheikh what was his name? Khalid Muhammad or whatever?
Right,
He's still alive. So.
Oh, my God. You see, there you go. My initials, KSM.
153 times, I think, they waterboarded this guy.
And he's still alive. I mean, I want to be waterboarded 300 times.
That's right.
So, I guess I got my question answered, which was what happened with the God Squad, because I didn't hear that. Mm-hmm. And I heard that they tucked their tail and took off, so that's interesting. Yeah. They get challenged once and they can't stand up to it. It's like, what kind of pathetic people are they? So you know what? I have an answer. You have a new God Squad now who comes in who doesn't know about Shane's waterboarding, and you bring them in.
Okay.
And you have people were calling in. People were calling in about having other people rotate in. So. Now you can rotate in some people who actually know something.
Yeah.
Rabbi Ed is, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have tomorrow. I think it's Wednesday. We're going to have Rabbi Chaim in.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
and
good.
Maybe I'll talk to him and see if if anybody out there. I know there's some people that have sent me names of possible God Squad. We had one time we thought about having a. Since the God Squad that recently decided not to be on anymore were pretty liberal, I think.
Right.
I don't think I'm telling anything out of school there.
Right.
And so maybe we had thought about maybe having two God Squads, one liberal, one conservative, and see how they interpreted the scriptures differently.
Well, I know there's a Catholic church in Belgrade, and I heard just through the grapevine that seems a little more conservative, just a different point of view than maybe Father Leo, and there's also the university one. So as far as for Catholicism, and then there's a zillion, Protestant churches around.
Right. Yeah, there's plenty of those, and
I want to surprise both of you. So my nephew several years ago asked me if I would marry him and his beautiful bride, and I said sure. And then I found out about the licensing and so I went and joined the Universal Church. So I'm a clergyman. So be careful what you say to me.
I know.
I'm a clergyman of the Universal Church. All right. And I legally have the right to marry people.
I only have one thing to say to that. God save us all.
There you go, buddy. I knew you'd love it, Mayor. I knew you'd love it. I've had this in for years.
This is like God Squad every day when you're on.
Right. I know.
All right, you guys have a good one.
All right. Thanks for. Kevin, before you go.
Yeah.
Has Pacific stopped paying for aluminum?
That's a good question. I know they've stopped paying for cardboard, and they might even be charging because the recycling center.
Yeah, they charge for cardboard. I know that. So I just throw mine in the dumpster, or not in the dumpster, but the bins.
I don't think they're charging for aluminum. Whether they're not paying anymore, that might be.
Yeah.
Most of it, all the recycling goes out to Four Corners Recycling because they take a lot more stuff than Pacific.
Yeah.
But they might have stopped because the market is in the toilet right now. And,
well, that's what I heard. I heard they'll still take it, but they're not paying anything for it for the aluminum. And I know for cardboard, I think at one time it was a penny a ton or something.
Right.
It wasn't much.
I pretty much get charged now for everything I drop off. I always got charged for glass because there's no money in glass. But the market, and a lot of it's China. But like China was buying all that plastic, and they were just taking the good plastic and throwing the rest in the Pacific Ocean, which would come around to us. And that's what that huge Pacific batch is all of our recycling that China threw out, not that we threw out, but China did.
Wow.
So China's a mess. I mean, like they just don't care. They'll shoot people. They'll eat their dogs. They'll pollute the world with.
Yeah, they got 1,000 people on those boats separating the good and bad plastic and just throwing bad plastic overboard.
Right. Yeah. Right. And yet we in America are the evil ones of the world, right?
Well, they know the currents run to us, so that's
totally
that's our problem. So. All right. Hey, thanks, Kevin. I just my wife was asking me about the other day because we collect cans and cardboard and stuff, and so
the market will come back. I mean, it's like everything in the economy. There's swings up and down, but right now we're in a real big down.
Well,
but you're a recycling expert, so we need to know what's going on.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be up a little bit since the tariffs on steel and aluminum. You'd think aluminum.
Well, I think there's a lag time, and I think that that might help. When we even things out, but for now, it's in the toilet. The recycling center at Four Corners, they're sitting on because no one wants to buy the cardboard.
Right.
They must have 2,000 bales just stacked. I mean, they don't even know what to do with the bales anymore. They're just sitting on them because there's no reason to even sell them at the price that anyone would buy them, if someone would buy them. So,
with Amazon shipping so much anymore that cardboard's just overrunning every neighborhood in America, probably. So,
right. What we could do is send all the bales down to the border and just make a baled cardboard barrier.
Well, we could do that. Yeah, let's just start stack them out at the border.
We don't have to buy any fencing. We already got the bales of cardboard.
That's right.
And animals can chew on them, so
And what we should do? We should also put a wall around San Francisco and L.A.
We could do that.
Well, that's right. And all the Democrats have to do is set it on fire, and it'll burn down.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's it. All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Sorry, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Well.
That was good. I like that. So where do I segue from here? Okay, where? Oh, you want to talk about Hunter Biden. What was it you wanted to say?
Well, I want to say it after we do the Rush update because otherwise we'll run out of time here if we don't. We'll get Rush in about 40 seconds early here, and then then we can go right to the top of the hour with Hunter Biden and other things. So hang on. We'll be right back. Here's Rush. 5 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, October 14th. Happy Columbus Day, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to Shane in Canada. Today is Canadian Thanksgiving Day, and we appreciate him being here on a holiday. Double time pay, of course, for you, Shane, today. So we're excited you're here.
I'm trying to. Now I have to go run off the 5 pounds I put on.
Yeah. Well, something pretty amazing happened over the weekend. 96 people downloaded our shows over the weekend, Shane.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. We're up to 815 downloads of 247 shows, so we thank you for the support.
1,800. You said 800.
1,815. Yeah. Right. 1,815. So we're going to hit 1,000 or 2,000 pretty quickly here if that keeps up. But we really appreciate everybody going over to KMMSAM.com on your smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS and downloading our shows and listening to them. And we really appreciate that very much because, well, that's something the bean counters can't ignore.
We're fun, entertaining, and funny.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah, we want to be all those things. But let's see. The other thing I want to point out real quick, BozemanMagazine.com. We're in the running for several things over there. We are in the running for local celebrity. That would be me. Shane's not local, so I didn't put him in there. So.
Well, I am local, but not
you're sort of local. Yeah, local news source. We're in there for that. Bozeman's Choice Local Radio DJ. Shane and I are both in there. There's 21 options in that category. 21 we're running up against. 21? We're running against 21 there. Bozeman's Choice Local Radio Show. There's 13 options there. But we would really like to be Bozeman's Choice for Local Radio Show. And, of course, local radio station. There's 9 of those. Most luscious radio voice, 14, including myself.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But as I mentioned earlier, this show is really about 80% Shane and myself, and the listeners and the callers and the texters, the app chatters, the people who stream the show. We're all in this together. So if you vote for us, you're voting for yourself. So, I don't know how much skill's involved in playing a top 40 every day, but I'm sure there must be some skill involved in that. But I don't mean to belittle any of the other hosts who are also in the running against us. But they all work very hard and they're all very dedicated and they all do a great job. But we have kind of an unusual show here in that, we're not background for a lot of you. You listen.
And everyone needs to know he's very generous. 20% are everyone that calls in, and 60% Tom. And maybe 20% because he does the production, he runs the board, he does the recordings, he does the downloads. If I keep going, I'll tire myself. So he's a remarkable guy, deserves the award because he works very hard. It's not just 3 hours, it's 5 till noon. So, this is a lot of work.
At least, at least 5 till noon, yeah. All right, the other things, of course, we need to talk about. Hunter Biden is going to step down from the Chinese firm that he was a board member of, and or a Chinese-backed private equity firm, I should say. The decision comes after members of the Trump administration, namely the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, accused the Bidens of corruption related to Hunter's foreign business ties.
Well, the amazing thing is, I have to mention this because it's sort of important. All right.
Sure. Yeah.
So, this is his son. Okay.
Right.
And he divorced his wife on April 14th, 2017. This is Hunter Biden.
Right.
Kathleen Biden. He divorced his wife.
Okay.
Turns out that 2 years later, on May 5th, 2019, he ended his 2-year relationship with his sister-in-law, who was married to Beau Biden, who was dying of brain cancer.
Right.
So obviously he divorced his wife Kathleen because he was involved. We used to call it an affair. I guess it's called a relationship now.
Right. Yeah.
But he's involved with his brother's wife, and his brother's dying of brain cancer. I mean, and then he breaks up with her. I mean,
yeah.
This is not a nice guy.
This is John Edwards all over again.
I mean, personally, socially, business wise,
All right, say goodbye, Shane.
Bye, Bear. We'll talk to everyone in the morning. Be happy, be safe. God bless. Your Thanksgiving's coming soon, I promise.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Shane. All right, Jeff Krause will join us tomorrow. We'll see everybody tomorrow, Tuesday, 6 a.m.